All right, 380 versus 38 special and pocket guns. And today what I have is the Sig Sauer V-Crown ammunition. I was going through my ammo. I happened to notice I had extra of this. I think I ran this through my Juggernaut box about 2 years ago. I was using the J frame, not this Taurus 605 here, but I found the Taurus 605 to be a really good pocket gun, even though it weighs about 20 ounces unloaded. It carries rather well. The size of it's good. It's not too heavy. It doesn't sag the pocket or anything. And we have our Ruger LCP. So 380 versus 38 special is a 90 grain V-Crown for the 380 and a 125 grain V-Crown for the 38 special. Just a basic hollow point, kind of a large hollow cavity. So we're going to see what kind of performance we get. We're going to go through the chronograph, see what kind of velocity and accuracy we get at the same time. Then I'm going to go through my 10% clear ballistics, and I'm going to do my typical test where I do 4 layers of denim, and then we have 3 inches of 10% clear ballistics and then a 1/4 inch medium density fiberboard, which represents like ribs or sternum, and then into more clear ballistics, and we can see where we catch these bullets. And I'll do a shot with this and without this, so it'll be kind of like a simulation of this going through a chest cavity with the ribs or sternum hit, and when we take it out, it'd be like representing a gut shot where we're not hitting something hard. And then I'm going to shoot from 25 yards at my full-size steel silhouette, just to kind of see what kind of practical accuracy we can get with these rounds. So let's get started with this test. All right, first up we have our 380 ACP. It's rated at 980 feet per second. I'm about 5 yards from the target, 4 yards from the chronograph. Ruger LCP 2 3/4 inch barrel. Will probably not get anywhere close to 980 feet per second, but let's see what we get anyways. 901, 882, 911, 865, 860, so pretty respectable. Let's see how that 38 special compares. All right, 38 special, it's rated at 965 feet per second. That's probably out of a 4-inch barrel. Let's see what we get out of our 2-inch barrel. 872, 877, 860, 868. I pulled that shot. I'm just going to take what I got there. An accurate round, because the ones that I saw lined up with my front sight exactly were hitting the bullseye, and then I felt myself kind of pull the trigger, but pretty respectable, pretty consistent overall. So let's hit our gel block and let's see how these two compare to each other. All right, first up we have our 380 ACP. We're going to go through our medium density fiberboard after going through 3 inches of that clear ballistics. And we'll see how the 380 does. Bit of a malfunction. All right, so with everything lined up, right? This edge of this is kind of bowed out, but it is lined up. What we're looking at is about 8 1/4 inches. So this typically takes away about 2 inches. That would typically be about 10 1/4, but not always, because this affects expansion. So it's always going to be a little bit different than an equation. But if we were to shoot like Full Metal Jacket or Solid, you know, typically this is about 2 inches. So let's take this out. We'll see how the 380 does without the MDF. I just wanted to show that fiberboard. It does look like it impacted and maybe started to tumble before it hit that fiberboard. That's interesting. Okay, we'll go up above that a little bit with no medium density fiberboard to see how this quote-unquote gut shot does. All right, so definitely a different equation there. What we're looking at here is our damage path goes all the way to 14, almost 14 and a half. And it's kind of hard to tell from here, but it looks like we probably got expansion. So that's not too bad. What's going on here might just be kind of a phenomenon based on hitting that fiberboard, which isn't necessarily bad, but you know, what we can see here is at least this one penetrated adequately, did not over penetrate. So it looks like it's doing relatively well. Let's see how our 38 special does. All right, 38 special. We will go through our medium density fiberboard first and see how this does. All right, so we have this lined up at the bottom here, so it's lined up correctly. And what we're looking at here, we got expansion. We're looking at about 11.5 to 11.75 total damage path. It does look like we have expansion, so that's not too bad. Let's go up here without the medium density fiberboard and see how that compares. And we got a nice clean hole through our fiberboard. That looks pretty good. All right, no medium density fiberboard. We're just going through our gut shot simulation. So let's see how this does. So a little bit different here than that typical equation of 2 inches, because there's probably a difference in expansion size. But what we're looking at here is we're looking at 16.5 inches. So as far as the 380 goes in this, we're a little bit shallow through our MDF. But when we look at this equation, this is perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Because even if we're a little bit shallow, you know, the old FBI chest used real ballistic shell, not synthetic clear ballistics. So even if we're a little bit low, 11.5 or so, we're still at that adequate penetration, and we're only at 16.5. We're not over penetrating. So in my opinion, this ammunition is actually doing quite well. So let's shoot from 25 yards with these rounds. These little pocket guns, really no need to go beyond that, and just see how they shoot. All right, 380 LCP, 25 yards. I'm just gonna hold center and kind of fire it kind of slow, just to kind of see how these things group for me with this little pistol. So let's see what we get. So they're shooting a little bit to the right for me. Let's see how the 38 Special does. So before I shoot with the 38 Special, I always wanted to explain something about this Taurus. These are both unloaded. I have a LCR here and 327 and my Taurus here. A typical double action revolver, if you pull that trigger back, you always have a little bit of space right there behind the trigger before it hits the frame. With this Taurus, it's not quite like that. It's pretty much touches the frame. So what happens with me is when I go to shoot, I have kind of chubby little fingers here, and when I'm pulling this back, a lot of times what'll happen is skin will get stuck between there, and then the trigger will stop, and I'll keep pulling through, and then it pinches me and that shot gets jerked. So it's something that is kind of a phenomenon with this revolver, so it's kind of hard to take my practical accuracy 100% at face value, but I'll do the best I can. All right, so I got 6 rounds left, so I'll just empty one out here after I shoot. This is the 5 shot. Practically good for practical accuracy. So overall, this is kind of a little gem here because it seems to be doing quite well. I was not expecting it to do well at all because of my water jug testing. I don't recall it doing that well. But when we do something a little bit more realistic, even with the fiberboard simulation, it seems to do decent. And the thing that's really standing out is that it just all feels like standard pressure, easy to shoot ammo. This did not have a lot of felt recoil. Felt pretty much like target ammo, even though it's labeled +P. And our 380 is standard pressure, and that just shot like target ammo too. So overall, very well rounded. So that's what you get today. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.